2, 1. What are they do? They go like that.
Hello.
Excellent. Should we start with a bit of a cheers? Should we cheers?
Yeah, cheers. So it's summer in Cape Town, and Dylan is visiting us from Amsterdam. So I'm drinking a beer. It was 33 degrees today. Dylan's wearing a hoodie. Is it cold?
Yeah, it's cold. It's cold. The clouds rolled in where I am. It was boiling hot, and then the clouds rolled in.
Yeah, it can't be hot here for more than 2 days without it getting a little bit cooler. That's because we live by the ocean.
Your video's clear off the top of your head, unless you sit back. Oh, there you go.
Okay. Yeah, enough about the weather.
Nice.
There you go. Now I'm lower down. Today we are talking about yet another cool thing that we're doing at SubmitHub. So we're nearing the end of 2023, and we've actually rolled out some pretty cool stuff this year. The similar artists, we did a revamp of our influencer stuff. We rolled out the marketplace. We did a whole bunch of updates to Hot or Not. But today's live stream is the new cool one that I'm pretty excited about, and that is using artificial intelligence or AI technology or whatever you call it to detect the genre of a song. And this is something that I was quite skeptical about for a long time. And actually, we had people come along and say, oh, when ChatGPT was blowing up, why don't you just put a song through there and see what genre it comes back with? And the answer was that ChatGPT couldn't do audio at the time. They've now got their Whisper API, which allows transcription of words, but it's still not going to help you tell the genre of a song. So yeah, I was quite skeptical about this, but I knew in the back of my head it was something I wanted to help do, because identifying the genre of a song is not easy for many artists. And gosh, I thought of a few different ways of us doing this. One thing was to have this sort of quick fire thing where people could submit their song and then 5 curators could respond back with the genre within 60 seconds. And they could pay 5 credits for it. I had all these ideas of ways that we could do it, but they didn't really work. And then I bumped into a website or a company called Cyanite. So the first part of this conversation is about Cyanite. Then we're going to talk about Essentia, which is a product developed by a university in Barcelona. And then we'll talk about the way forward and how we see this AI technology being helpful. So
that's future.
With Cyanite, the future. Cyanite is a really cool company based out of Germany that is dedicated to using artificial intelligence to tag the genres of songs. So their website is cyanite.ai. And they've got a really cool thing going on. So someone had mentioned it in the SubmitHub chat rooms, and I decided to go check it out. And I tested a few songs through it, and I went, whoa, that wasn't so bad. That's actually pretty good. And so my skepticism around the ability for a computer to identify the genre of a song slowly started to erode. And I reached out to the guys at Cyanite, and they were really helpful and kind. They gave us their pricing model, which was quite high for us to consider implementing at the time. It was almost going to work out to 3,000 or 4,000 euros per month to run, which was a little bit higher than I was kind of interested in doing. But these guys, being really cool, understood what SubmitHub was, and they wanted to see if we could integrate it in some way. So they gave us a whole bunch of free tokens that we could use. And I set about coding and implementation of Cyanite into SubmitHub. So the way I did it was that I used Cyanite's API, which I think is accessible to anyone who applies for it. And I put it into the submission flow of SubmitHub. So as you're going through your submission flow, you first upload your song, and then you go ahead and you choose the genres that you think are applicable to your song. And I had a little button there that said, if you need help with your genres, we can try to use AI powered by Cyanite to assess them. And so we could do it with 2 sources from Cyanite. They could either use a 30-second Spotify preview, or they could use the full MP3 or YouTube link, whatever we had available. So what I did was I actually started collecting data on the genres that Cyanite was producing for both Spotify and for MP3s, but along the way I had a little bit of a trouble. So Cyanite has essentially 3 different ways for telling genres. They've got a main genre, which is a group of about 20 genres. Then they've got subgenres, which is a group of about 50 genres. And then they've got what they call free genres, which is 6,000 genres. It's a crazy amount.
So
Sounds crazy, but I want to share one of the coolest websites in the world with you here. I'm going to be doing a little bit of screen sharing today, so bear with me as we go. This is one of the coolest websites in the world. If you have not seen this, it is called everynoise.com. Nah, we're not that cool. This one's cool. So everynoise.com is owned by Spotify. And what they've got here are roughly 6,000 genres clustered by similarity. And you can click on any of these to get a sample of whatever that genre sounds like. Sorry about that. So you did hear that though, didn't you? That was pretty good. So when Cyanite says they've got 6,000 genres, it sounds overwhelming, but what they're actually doing is that they're mirroring a lot of what Spotify's doing here. And so when I went ahead, by the way, if you haven't seen this, everynoise.com, super cool. We'll put it in the link here. Dylan, can you do that? Yeah. And they came back with these 3 responses every time I put a song through Cyanite. The main genres, the subgenres, their free genres, which was 5 genres roughly from this list of 6,000. And then they would also come back with things like mood, the instruments in there, the BPM, the valence, which is sort of, what is valence? Sorry, energy or happy, I don't know, whatever. A whole bunch of really cool stuff about the song. And it was pretty accurate, but those genres were difficult to get through. We have about 230 genres on SubmitHub. So trying to sort through the list of 6,000 genres and line them up. Okay, so if Cyanite says it's this genre, then we should recommend this genre. And if they say it's this one, then we should recommend this one. It was really difficult to do.
Fact checker here, just by the way. Valence is a measure of positivity. So a song with a high valence is something more positive, happy, or cheerful, and more negative is sad, depressed, and angry.
That's sad.
Yeah.
Well, the Cyanite data was pretty cool, but it was hard for me to actually digest and try to tie back to SubmitHub genres. So we could come along and tell users, hey, these are the genres that Cyanite think apply to your song. But then jumping from there to our genres on SubmitHub was quite difficult to do. And I had this brainwave. It's like, dude, AI, right? AI. Let's use ChatGPT to try to figure out what these genres are. So I took the genres from Cyanite. And keep in mind, I'm trying to do this all with code at scale, right? We're not there manually reviewing it. I need to have code in place that can do it. So I took the results from Cyanite and I sent them off to ChatGPT alongside a list of our genres. And I said, okay, Cyanite says it's these genres. Which ones would you match it up to from ours? And the results were a mess. I was really excited about it, but I'll give you the example that kept coming up over and over. I would tell Cyanite, here is a jazzy song with down-tempo beats, and the mood is chill. And Cyanite would come back, ChatGPT would come back and say, oh, we see you've used the word chill. So this must be chill wave, chill step, and chill whatever else we have. And they would just kind of hone in on the word chill. And it just wasn't working out. So I tried GPT-4, which is their newer, more expensive model. And it still wasn't working that well. And then as I started to dig into the data, I found some additional problems with Cyanite that were holding me back a little bit. So it was taking close to a minute for the analysis to come back from Cyanite servers. And that's fair. Like, this is heavy computational stuff. So that was okay, but it's not ideal. And of course, it's a bit cost prohibitive to be pumping out this stuff that is just, it's there, but it's not there. Live connection lost, says someone. I hope not. I hope this is untrue. Dylan's here and I'm here. Eek.
And I'm watching on the...
That's right. We're still here. I'll keep going. So anyway, so Cyanite, super cool, but slow, a little bit expensive. And then another thing that kept coming up was it's just a little bit inconsistent. So here's a song by a band called Krongben. They're really the genre Cyanide came back with. Rap. Doesn't make sense. Okay, so let's dig into the subgenre. Jazzy hip hop. Not really either. They do get the chill and the calm genres wrong, which is ironic because rap doesn't really go there. I would have put it, if these are their main genres, I would have put it under rock. So they say there's a little bit of rock going on here, but I can actually put in all these other genres and they can tell me how present those genres are within this. Okay, funk was kind of up there. But like, why is rap at the top? And so I was getting these really inconsistent results here that just were letting me down a little bit. They get the genre, the instruments right. It's totally bass guitar in there. I don't know about the woodwinds. There's electric guitar. So they got some cool stuff going on here, but it also just wasn't 100% there. Yeah. Okay. So that brings us to phase 2 of our conversation, in which I go looking for alternative solutions. I had actually found this solution prior to testing out Cyanite, but I couldn't wrap my head around it. It was too complicated. I'm going to share something with you here. And for anyone who doesn't code, you're going to be like, WTF, what does this even mean? But it's a C++ library on GitHub called Essentia. It's an open source C++ library for audio analysis and audio-based music information retrieval. And it's put together by the University of Barcelona, Pompo. Oh God, what am I? UPF. Pompo.
This is the one thing. This is the one thing we had to get right. This is the one thing we were.
Anyway, here it is. Open source library. Blah 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 blah. I've lost it. Yeah.
Right, here we go. Pompo Fabra.
Yeah. The music technology group, and these guys are super cool. They've been working for years now on sort of AI analysis models, and they've been open sourcing it for the whole world to try out and test and do that kind of stuff with. So after I sort of hit a wall with Cyanite, and to be fair, the Cyanite guys have been communicating with me on this. They are working on improving their system. I think they're going to keep getting better, but right now I'm not sure about whether it works with SubmitHub. So I decided to dive into this mishmash of code from Essentia and try to figure out what was going on. And after a couple of days of playing around with it, sorry to everyone else that the other website updates haven't been as fast lately, because I've been deep in this. So I managed to get it all, and I found this model that they've developed that's based on Discogs. So Discogs is a pretty cool website for music nerds. Right, Dylan? You want to tell us about Discogs? You knew about it. I didn't.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, Discogs was, it was the first place that I went when I was looking for certain kinds of records. They just have like a very extensive library of, I think, pretty much, I don't know if it's everything that's ever been released, but this is a great place to find things. And they have tapes and CDs and vinyls for sale. That's mostly what I've used it for. But there's a lot of other good information. Oh, come here. We've got a dog joining the stream. Come up.
Oh. So I've highlighted this part here, but this really sums it up. It's they've got this really great open source database where people tag songs and contribute to their database of different music. So if you dive into their Explore page and you look at all these different genres, I think I might actually have to type it in directly. You can see that they've got about 600 genres in here. There it is. So you can filter by all of these genres. And so these, I think, are the number of songs that they've got associated and tagged with these different genres. Like Gothic metal, they've got 14,000 songs in here. So what the guys at Essentia did was they took this database, they narrowed in on the top 400 songs here, I think. Yeah. And they went and they looked at all of those songs. They analyzed them. They tried to fingerprint them, if you will. What's that?
You said songs, but it's genres.
Well, but they looked at the 14,000 songs within Gothic metal, and they did an analysis of them using their technology that they had built. They built up this sort of fingerprint of, hey, Gothic metal songs typically have this profile.
Yeah.
And they were then able to pump this into a model so that if you upload your song and they fingerprint your song, they can then match it to this massive database of about 1 million different songs and try to identify the presence of each different genre within your fingerprint. Because as we know, songs are rarely one genre. They're often a blend of many different genres. So these guys published their first model of this in, I want to say, March. And it was called the FNet model. Sorry, guys, if I got that wrong, if they're watching this.
Actually, but yes.
Yeah. So they published this model, and I managed to get it set up on SubmitHub. And Dylan, Tilly, and Jamie on our team spent some time going through a massive spreadsheet where they tried to tag the 400 Discogs genres and align them with our selection of genres. So it wasn't exactly rocket science, but it is also quite difficult, isn't it?
Still got some work to do. I think there's some edits that can be made here.
So these are the Discogs genres, and these are where we think it sort of lines up with our genres. I pulled in the definitions.
I mean, it's a great place to go. Discogs, I'm talking about, if you want just like accurate and extensive definitions about very odd subgenres. So it's like if every noise had a library. I mean, I guess they kind of do, but Discogs just organize it a bit better.
If I had known about Discogs, maybe SubmitHub genres would be a bit more in there, but we've sort of free flowed our genres as we've gone, right?
Yeah, I didn't know that this genre section of Discogs even existed. All I would do is log on, type in the rare vinyl I was looking for, and then you find people around the world selling them.
And some of it is very it was easy for us to line up, right? Like grunge, garage rock, folk rock. But then we started to be like, okay, ethereal rock, that's probably dream pop. So we're not necessarily perfect in our selections here, and I think we're going to have some more tweaking as we go. But what was cool about this one is that instead of having, check out the purple there, it's the right purple. Instead of having 6,000 genres to pass through, we had 400 genres. And so we were able to manually go through that and select them. So that is what was kind of cool about this setup. What I did was I put this FNet Discogs model in, and I set up a server where we were running this, and it was super cool. The results came in 5 seconds. And because they were mapped to our genre, I didn't have to have this convoluted ChatGPT interpretation. I could actually show our mapping as we went through. And I'm going to show you this one because this is actually almost what's live. So I reached out to the guys at in Barcelona, and Pablo and Dimitri are running this PhD department here with the music technology group. And I said, hey guys, this is super cool. I'm working on this, but sometimes it's a little bit inaccurate. Can I help you come up with better results? I can give you some of our data. The data I had suggested was to be like, hey, so your model suggested this, and our users chose this. So if we look at that in bulk, maybe you're missing certain genres. And they came back really quickly, and they're like, we've got a new model. We have a new AI model that we just finished this week, and it's way better. I was like, what? That's the best news ever. So over the last 2 or 3 weeks, I've been implementing their newer, more up-to-date model. which the previous one was called the FNet Discogs, and this one's called the Meist Discogs. So Pablo and Dimitri have been building this machine learning thing with a different way of looking at these songs. It's all open source on their website, but they helped me sort of get through setting up a server that can run these analyses, and wow, the results are a lot better. So I have said all of that. I think maybe a cool place to go here is to actually show you what the latest model looks like. And you can test this out if you want as well. I do hope it doesn't break. I've been working hard at trying to get it to work when lots of people request it at the same time, because it's actually pretty heavy on the servers. So submithub.com/what's-my-genre. That is how you can test it out on demand. But you can also actually find this as part of your submission flow. As you're going through and submitting your song, you'll see a button that will allow you to request an analysis of your song. And actually, when you upload a song now, I kind of run the analysis in the background for you to try and get these results ready if you happen to want them. Another thing that's cool about this is that we don't have to share this data with anyone. None of your private information is getting shared anywhere. It's all happening on SubmitHub servers. It's the stuff that you provided us with, either a YouTube URL, a SoundCloud URL, an MP3, but we've got it all accessible without having to share it. Whereas that is one downside of Cyanite, is in order for them to do the analysis, they need the song on their servers. So here is one of my favorite songs by Bonobo. It's a pretty down-tempo song. I don't know, everyone knows. And I would say that these guys actually did a pretty good job with their analysis of the genres in here. What you'll notice is that these don't add up to 100% necessarily. They are a percentage of the confidence of the presence of that genre within the song. So this song has a 48% match to down tempo and a 35% match to instrumental hip hop. So I have seen a couple examples that exceed 70 or even 80% in their match, but often you're going to find them around 30 to 40% confidence of how present that genre is. And that is indicative of how different songs can sound these days. I just want to compare this to the FNet model, version 1. Now, this one was faster, but less accurate. Let's see if it still works, because I might have broken this. Oh, man, fingers crossed. I actually haven't tested this one since I rolled out the new one. It might not. Oh, it did work. And look, it came up pretty close. Down tempo is still the top one here. Trip hop, maybe. Ambient, nah. But it looks like this is a pretty.
I mean, the other one definitely wasn't study beats. So yeah, I know they both came up with.
This model is coming back a lot more accurate, and this isn't just me coming up with this data.
Wait, oh, never mind. You don't have to worry about it.
What?
Wait. You connected to Bluetooth speaker at home. Sorry, carry on.
I'm on your Bluetooth speaker at home. All right.
No, now you're not.
Hello, Dylan's dogs. Dylan's mom's dogs. Okay, check this out. I have charts and graphs to back all of this up. So when someone requests one of these genres as part of their submission flow, I ask them to thumb up or thumb down. Did they find it helpful or not helpful? I haven't asked for any further input about why they don't find it helpful or why they do find it helpful, but I've been collecting data here on the different models. So at the beginning, I mentioned there was Cyanite, which we can use both Spotify and MP3s for. And then with this Discogs models, there's version 1, which is FNet, and version 2, which is Meist. So the sample size for the Cyanite was a little bit smaller here with Discogs, because I'm not paying per request. I actually just kind of went crazy and let everyone do it. But what was interesting here on the Cyanite side, the accuracy with the Spotify samples, around 80% of people were satisfied with the results. So that's the 67 out of 84 in row 3, column 3. And when you use the full MP3, which is a much larger sample, 90% of people were satisfied. So what that tells me is that their AI model struggles when it's only a 30-second sample, and the longer the song is, the better job they can do assessing whether it's good or not. When I use ChatGPT to try to spit out and match up these genres, roughly the last 3 columns here, they say all used, some used, none used. That's how many of the genres we suggested actually got used in the end. On this again, you can see that people preferred the full MP3 results more than they preferred the Spotify one. So 22% of submissions used all the suggested genres, 50% used some, and 28% didn't. So just super rounding, you could say 2/3 of the time people used the genres that were suggested, and 1/3 of the time they didn't. Then we jump over to the Discogs models. Version 1 actually had worse results than Cyanite's Spotify one in terms of satisfaction. It's a slight apples to oranges comparison because the helpful and not helpful buttons are just way easier to spot in the Discogs one. You might have noticed that when I was sharing my screen earlier. Whereas with the Cyanite one, you had to scroll through a page of ChatGPT to find it. But people were more likely to use the genres that we suggested. And I think that's because we had such an easy mapping. And then when this version 2 came along, this Meist one, this is when I started to get excited because the results here are looking a lot more accurate. Again, 90% of people are finding it satisfactory, which is very similar to Cyanite's model. But even better than this is 84% of people are using some of the genres that we suggest. So those numbers don't add up perfectly there, and that's just due to rounding. But yeah, 84% of people are using some of the genres we suggested. And what else is cool here is that I can sort of do retroactive analyses and run this. So yeah, that's where we stand today. So if you go through your submission flow, and I don't know if I can do it here. I'm going to let you guys test that one out on your own. But when you upload a track and you're going through to submit to curators, you'll see on the page where you choose your genres, you're likely to be prompted about whether you would like to use AI to analyze this. The times you won't be is if the duration of the song is over 10 minutes or if I don't have a YouTube, SoundCloud, or MP3 available. Also, under a minute doesn't work. Yeah. Okay. Nice. That's it. That's the summary of where we stand with this.
There's one comment for you there on the YouTube. Last one.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great. And this does get us into the next point of conversation here is what do we do with this data and how do we make it better? What is the future of this? So Cyanite is rolling out a feature that will align your song with playlists using this AI tagging. I don't know how well that's going to go until they get their genres a little more accurate. But we're kind of doing this already without AI. So when people upload their songs, they tag the genres, curators then share those songs, and we can tell based on a curator's sharing history what songs they like. It's a little bit more difficult for a brand new curator. We don't have that historical data available to tell. But hypothetically, we can take the genres that AI is recommending and then do an analysis of a curator's playlist or recent blog posts and tag those songs as well, and then look for alignments there. So that's one way we can use this. It's not as essential, and you'll probably see a few other submission sites claiming we're using AI to match you up. I don't think they're doing it this cool. And even then, I don't think it needs AI. Like we've built that a little bit with the genre matching thing. So that's one thing. The other one I want to do is to be able to work with this data and provide useful information for the guys in Barcelona to improve their model. So if I can identify some bottlenecks or areas where people are less likely to select the genres that we've recommended, that's also going to be quite helpful. So if I can say, hey, look, folk rock tracks often seem to get tagged just fine, but organic house consistently comes back as old school deep house, then there's something you can maybe work on there and try to get a better result from it. So that's another thing we can do in the future here. What else, Dylan?
I mean, you pretty much nailed everything.
I nailed it.
And anything with AI is very much unknown. So
yeah, look, the ultimate goal here is to help the 10 or 15% of artists who really struggle to identify their genre. You know, people spend a lot of time making music, and they aren't necessarily out there listening to as much music as curators are, and their breadth of knowledge about the different genres is also not present. So we found historically that on SubmitHub, people struggle with this prompt of what genre is your music. It's not something that comes intuitively to everyone. And so the ultimate goal here is to be able to help those artists get their genre right so that they can target the right curators. Because the number one way to a bad experience on SubmitHub is to get your genres completely wrong and send it to the wrong curators. They're going to reject you. It's not right for them.
That's the whole purpose of this exercise, is actually that the genre situation, if you want to call it that, there's just, as you saw, 6,000 different genres, and a lot of artists, you know, feeling like they don't fit into any one that they're aware of. And there's obviously a bottleneck for us, having curators have to choose from only X amount of genres. That, yeah, actually, if there's a system that can identify songs and identify genres, maybe one day we could have 6,000 different genres listed on SubmitHub and have enough curators choosing enough of them, you know? So
yeah. Look, if we can get the right songs to the right curators, it increases your odds of being approved. I must confess that yesterday I had my first customer ticket where someone wanted a refund based on the genres that were suggested. They felt like they were misled. So for those of you watching this video, it's important to understand that this is new stuff. This is not always accurate, and you should use your judgment with this. And simply getting your genres right doesn't mean that people are going to like your song. So it's all very subjective at the end of the day. If you encounter any sort of website that's guaranteeing you the perfect match here and the perfect share, they're probably up to shenanigans. And I'm quite confident that there is not any other submission platform out there that has the level of genre matching that we had prior to this, and now we've just leveled up from that. So we're like, what's that one horse who is really fast? That's us.
Seabiscuit?
Seabiscuit. We're the Seabiscuit of music submission sites.
Yes. Didn't he get shot? That's kind of
shoot.
up. Yeah.
Okay.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah. We're the Jake Gyllenhaal of. Are we? Wait.
No, Jake Gyllenhaal rode the horse.
Unless there's any additional questions, I think we are now at 33 minutes. So that went pretty well.
Yeah.
For the last part of this, we are supposed to create memes.
Are we? Wait. We're Submit Biscuit, right? Or is that we're like? Biscuit. Wow, that's Limp Biscuit. It's just yeah. Okay, wait. We're creating memes.
Yeah, I feel very low down. You did that one, didn't you?
No, we haven't done this. We haven't done like a syncing one. So if we both just sync it. So 3, 2. Just...
Ow, my back. Oh, can't get this. For those confused, there's chat rooms on SubmitHub, and sometimes there are GIFs on the chat rooms. If you're looking for GIFs, you can just search for, what's it? SH GIFs.
SH GIFs. Yeah. Cheers to that. I think he's out.
Okay, cool. Thanks for joining us.
Try and smile as hard as you can, and then we close it off on that. Okay, that hurt.